Hello everyone, this is Ravindra Dundra and welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we are going to start a new topic from class 10th economics, that is chapter number 3, money and credit. So, in this lecture, we are going to discuss about what is money and what are the modern forms of money. But before that, as you all know that money is one of the very essential thing in our life, or you can say it has become part of our life. Why? Because without money, nothing you can buy or nothing you can sell. So, from where the concept of money has started, before the arrival of money, what was existing in this in among the humans and how exchange used to take place. So all these things we will be discussing in this lecture. So before money came into existence, or you can say before we started using the coins or the paper notes, what was there is that in the olden days or in the ancient time period, we used to follow a system known as this barter system. So what do you mean by barter system? So barter system means simply you can say exchange of goods for goods without the use of money. For example, two people are there, person A and person B, and this person is having shoe and this person is having this wheat. So what happens? The exchange process goes like this. So this A requires wheat and B requires shoes. So therefore what happens? He'll give a pair of shoes to the B and B will give some kgs of wheat to this A. So this process of exchanging goods with the goods without the use of money, we call it as this barter system. But it is very difficult to find out who will take this wheat and who will give these shoes, or who needs these shoes and who is ready to give this wheat. So one of the very essential feature of this barter system is that it is the double coincidence of wants. That means, what do you mean by this double coincidence of wants? Double coincidence of wants means it is basically agreement between the two people to buy and sell their goods. That means there should be a common agreement between A as well as B, saying that I'll give my shoe, you give my wheat. But it is very difficult to get a person who is ready to take the shoe as well as ready to give his wheat, or who is producing a wheat. So because of all these difficulties, what we have done is that we started using this money. So to eliminate the need of double coincidence of wants, we have started using this money. Then what is money? Money means basically you can say it is a medium of exchange. So here what is happening in this exchange, shoes are directly exchanged with the wheat. But if money is there, means what happens? The person who wants this wheat, he pay money to this person B and he takes this wheat. So the process involves this money. So simply you can say money is playing as a role of medium of exchange. It can be whatever it may be, paper coins, paper notes, or you can say coins. So whatsoever it may be, money, it acts as a medium of exchange. And the next very important thing about money is that it eliminates the need of double coincidence of wants. So once you have this money which acts as a medium of exchange, then what is the need of this double coincidence of wants? What is the need of finding a person who takes shoe and who gives wheat? So no need. If you have money, you just give money and you can buy whatever you want, or you can sell whatever you have. So money plays a very important role in our life, and at the same time it acts as a medium of exchange and it eliminates the need of double coincidence of wants. So nowadays we use this money for various purposes. So let us see what are the modern forms of money that is existing today, and once upon a time what we have used as a money. So all these things we will see now. Let us discuss about the modern forms of money. So till now we have seen the history about money. So now how the modern forms of money that exist today, or you can say in the present day. But before we discuss about this modern forms of money, we need to understand what were the things that were used as money before the emergence of coins as well as you can take paper notes. So before the use of coins as well as paper notes, we were using some of the things as a money. So first we started using cattle and grain was used as a money. That means suppose the process of exchanging, people used to give some cattle and they used to buy some goods, or whenever they sell anything they used to receive cattle in the form of money. And later on they started using the grains, it may be food grains, rice, wheat, whatever it may be, they started using them as money. And later on stages, they have also started using metallic coins, or you can take some of the precious coins such as gold, silver, copper. So all these things were used as the money. But there were some drawbacks with this. So cattle and grain, they cannot stay longer time, since it is a livestock. You cannot say whether it can live for longer time, and grain also it might not stay for longer time. And when it comes to this metallic coins, people started hiding this gold or silver or whatever the valuable metals which they possess. They stopped using them in the process of exchange. So therefore, in the later on stages, we started using two important types of modern form of currency. So one is modern forms of money. So one is this currency, and the other one is deposits with the banks. So first we will see about this currency, what are the things that include in the currency, and why we should accept it as a medium of exchange. So first, if you take the currency, it mainly includes paper notes as well as coins. That means whatever the things at present day we are using, they consist of paper notes as well as coins. So you see, we use 10 rupees note or 100 rupees or 2000 rupees note. So it is in the form of paper currency, and at the same time we also use this coins. So under currency, two main things included are these paper notes as well as this coins. And this modern form of currency, whatever you take, it may be paper notes or coins, they do not have any use of its own. But here if you take cattle, we used to have some use with the cattle. Grains, we used to have some use with the grains. Or sometimes you can take gold, silver or copper, we used to have some kind of use with this mediums of exchange. But nowadays, if you take the present situation, here the paper notes and the coins, they are just used as a medium of exchange. We don't have any other use with this paper notes as well as coins. But still, these two things are accepted as a medium of exchange. So why they are accepted as a medium of exchange? Now we will see. Just now we have seen that these modern forms of currency, that is paper notes as well as coins, they do not have any use of its own, but still it is accepted as a medium of exchange. So let us see why it is accepted as a medium of exchange. So the first and very important thing is that these coins or the paper currency or the paper notes, they are authorized by the government of that country. It can be any country, not only India, any country in the world. Whatever the paper currency which they use as a medium of exchange, they are authorized by the government of their country. And in India, if you take for example, in India, we have an organization known as RBI, Reserve Bank of India. It issues the currency notes on behalf of the central government. So that's why if you take any currency note, you can say issued by this Reserve Bank of India. You can find it on that note. So in India, we have an organization known as RBI, which issues the currency notes on behalf of this central government. Then the other reason is that no other individual or organization is allowed to issue the currency. So in India, except RBI, no other organization or no other single person is authorized to print or mint these currency notes or the coins. Suppose if they are doing means, they are liable under the case and they will be kept in the jail. And whatever the notes if they issue other than this RBI, we can consider them as a fake currency or the fake notes. So that is also one of the reason why it is accepted as a medium of exchange. Since it is authorized by the government, especially in India, it is authorized by RBI. So therefore, it is accepted as a medium of exchange. Then the next thing is that no individual should refuse payment made in rupees. Suppose in India, wherever you take, you are buying anything or you are selling anything, if you give any money in the form of paper currency or the coins, the other person is not supposed to refuse that. That means every individual in the country, they have to accept the paper notes or the coins as a medium of exchange. So that is what here it says, no individual should refuse payment made in rupees. Obviously, of course, in India, no one refuse the payment made in rupees, or you can take the form of paper notes as well as coins. So because of all these reasons, taking from here to here, because of all these reasons, we accept paper notes and coins as the medium of exchange. So next, we will discuss about the other modern form of currency, that is deposits with the bank. Now let us discuss about the other important modern form of money, that is deposits with the bank. So as you all know that nowadays most of the people, they feel more safe and secure if their money is in the bank. And at the same time, suppose if you take some of the employees, they receive money at the end at the beginning of every month. So whenever they receive money, so what do? Mostly they spend some of the money and they keep some other money for saving. And where do they save is that they save their money in the bank. So the money which is deposited in the bank, we call them as this like deposits with the bank. And these deposits, the banks will accept the deposits and also pay an amount of interest. And the reason why some people, they always keep their money in the banks is that it is because the bank will pay some kind of interest also. So because of this, most of the people, they spend only some amount from their salaries or the wages, and the remaining money they deposit with the bank. And bank will accept those deposits. It uses that money for its own purpose, and whenever they require, they can withdraw their money at any point of time. So therefore the deposits which are there with the banks, we call them as this demand deposits. And here this bank, as I told, it also pays some kind of interest. But of course, whatever the demands are there with, whatever the deposits are there with the bank, there are different types of deposits are there. Maybe fixed deposit, or you can take recurring deposit, or sometimes you can also take demand deposits or saving deposits. So like this, different types of deposits are there. So as of now, they are not required for your standard. So just simply say, whatever the money you keep with the bank, we call them as deposits with the bank, and whenever you require to take them, you can withdraw that money. So therefore we call them as this demand deposits. And nowadays, not only using this demand deposit, sometimes the payments are being made by using a check, a piece of paper, where they write someone's name and say that pay so and so person on whom the name of the check is issued and how much money should be paid. So nowadays payments are becoming even more simpler. Instead of paying by currency, or instead of by paying by cash, or you can take coins, we started using this checks. So what do you mean by this check? So check means it is a paper instructing the bank to pay specific amount from the person's account to the person in whose name the check has been issued. That means you take simply, it's a piece of paper. Just you take, just imagine. So what they will do here is that you can have to pay, here there will be some person's name. So suppose if I am issuing the check, means I'll write the person's name, so and so person's name, and I'll write the amount, how much money I should pay to that person, and I'll sign it here. Then that means here in this check, what I am trying to do is that I am instructing the bank, to the bank, saying that on whosever name I have issued the check. Suppose I have given a check on so and so person, suppose you take ABC. So I am instructing the bank to say that pay certain amount of money which I have written. Maybe for example, if I have written 10,000 rupees, so I am instructing the bank to pay ABC an amount of 10,000 from my account. So that is what you can say check, very in a simple manner. So check means, once again you take, means it is a paper instructing the bank, it's a piece of paper instructing the bank to pay specific amount, whatever the amount it may be, from the person's account to the person on whose name the check has been issued. So from my account on whose name I am issuing on ABC, so I am instructing the bank to pay ABC an amount of 10,000 rupees. So nowadays giving check and issuing check as well as taking check is also become a popular mode of exchange. So once again, if you take the modern forms of money, or you can take currency, so this currency includes, we have this paper notes, coins, and at the same time the second one is deposits with the bank. So here we can call some of them as demand deposits, and sometimes we also do the payments made by this check. So we have seen what is check and how it works. So now let us discuss about the next very important topic, that is loan activities of the banks. Just now I have mentioned that banks, they accept deposits from the people, and when people withdraw, they'll get some amount along with some kind of interest. So from where this bank is giving the extra amount to these people who deposited in the bank. So we will see the mechanism of the banking system, how banks will work. So mainly the banking system, it works between two different type of people. So one are these depositors and the other people are these borrowers. So usually what people do is that those people who deposit the money into the bank, we call them as these depositors, and those people who borrow money from the banks or who take loans from the banks, we call them as these borrowers. So now for example, if you take these depositors, they have deposited some 1 crore of rupees. 1 crore of rupees they have deposited in the bank. So this, what bank will do is that among this 1 crore, it keeps only some amount along with the bank, and the remaining amount it will start redistributing to the borrowers. But how much it keeps, it depends upon the country. For example, in India, it keeps only 15% of the total deposits. So just now we have taken an example, 1 crore people have deposited. So that means 15 lakhs the banks will keep it as will keep with them, and remaining 85 lakhs it will start giving in the form of loans to the borrowers. So what happens is that when people deposit money, the bank will take that money and it will start giving it to the borrowers in the form of loans. And whenever the people come and take this money from the bank, what happens? The bank will pay some kind of interest along with the money which they have deposited. And one more thing I forgot to mention, why this bank will keep certain amount along with them is that we call it as something known as this cash reserve. So why these banks keep it as cash reserve is that sometimes we don't know when a depositor come and ask money in the bank. So therefore, to save this or to keep an emergency money, whenever any depositor, if he or she comes and asks money, means banks are supposed to give that money. So therefore they keep some kind of money along with them, and remaining money they'll start giving into the loans. So suppose here the people have deposited and bank will promise that I'll pay you 5% of interest to the depositors, and what happens? The bank will take that money, it start giving loans to the borrowers, and what it charges from the borrowers is that, suppose for example, it may charge 10% from the borrowers. So whoever has taken loan from the bank, they might have to repay the money along with 10% of the interest, and here those who have deposited money, bank is paying their money along with 5% of interest. So here some 5% of money is something like a profit for bank, where with this 5% of money only it uses for all, or it performs all its activities, maybe giving salaries to the employees or maybe maintaining the bank or whatever it may be. So it mainly, the banking system is mainly operated with the difference between what the interest is paid to the depositors and what they are charging from the borrowers. So this is how the mechanism of banking will work. So next, in the next lectures we will discuss about two different kinds of loan situations in the country. Thank you.